Hey ladies, welcome to Mummy Mondays with me, Shawnda. I'm the owner of Get Kinected Fitness here in Belleville. And we are a studio that specializes in everything pre and postnatal. And today, with my guest, Tara Kerr, we're gonna talk about our experiences with the pressures of being a new mom and breastfeeding and formula feeding and bottle feeding and just that. Okay, so for me, I have 4 children. I did breastfeed my 4, but I found it very challenging as a new mom, especially my first one. That didn't go so well. I was undersupplying and no one was happy. So I decided to supplement with formula, and it went well. I was happy, she was happy. But I did feel guilty for not breastfeeding exclusively. And for me, it just wasn't working out. And I thought, what the hell am I doing? This is crazy. She's hungry. I'm sleep deprived. I'm like stressed out being a new mom, and hormones are crazy. So my second one, the same thing. She was on me all the time, still undersupplying. And I thought, okay, it's happening again. So I decided to supplement even earlier, and she was happy. It's not for lack of trying. I had lactation consultants that had coming in and out, and I was going to the doctors every second day. She was gaining 100 grams or 200 grams and just not gaining enough, and I knew that she was unhappy. And as soon as I started to supplement, she was great, which took the pressure off me. And I was happy. My son, my 3rd baby, exclusively breastfed. Everything worked well for whatever reason. So that was great. And my 4th, exclusively breastfed her as well. So those were my experiences, but I did feel a lot of shame, like, you know, my boobs are broke. Why can't I do this exclusively? And when I would see other women, and they were having no problems breastfeeding whatsoever. So anyway, so that was my experience with that. Now, Tara Kerr, like,
I had a lot of similar experiences with the concept of mom guilt. I had my first child in 2012, and I was very educated at that time as far as reading all of the books that were out there, doing all of the web searches, going to all of the prenatal classes, going to all the mom groups I could find in the area, anything that was there to support me in being a new mom and taking on that role, I was signing up first on the red line. So I felt I was very equipped. And when my son came out in 2012, I naturally wanted to nurse him because everything at the time, the posters, the social media blitz, everything was phrased as breast is best. So in my mind, that was what I had to do to be a successful mother. When Connor was born, he tried to go on my breast immediately after delivery, and it was a failed experience. So my nipples broke open substantially. I bled a lot. I can remember taking him off of my breast like within the first week, and his mouth like having blood come out, as well as like the milk when he would come off a latch. And I again went to those local sources of help. I went to the health unit, I saw lactation consultants, I went to my family physician, I reached out to mom groups, I went to a lot of support groups and did a lot of research, and I was inundated with a lot of mom guilt. I was told that I wasn't holding him properly, that his sternum needed to be clipped, that he had a tongue tie, that I was fair-skinned or a redhead, and so it was natural to feel that way because my skin was a little bit more sensitive to that. So just to work through it and power through it, and that the bond would be so amazing once I did it. But for me, it was such an awful experience that I can remember my husband coming to me in the middle of the night, and Connor was crying and he was hungry. I was crying because I just didn't want him to go on. The thought of that just was so disgusting, and I said, we need to do something because this isn't that moment that I want. This isn't the bond. So we decided at that point that we were going to try pumping. We went out and we bought a very good quality pump, and I committed to pumping. And fast forward, I was able to successfully feed him through pumping out bottles and milk for the first full year of his life. I think that the other thing that was stressful is that when I made that commitment to me and to our family and to my child, the outside world that was still yelling breast is best, breast is best, really saw it as a negative. And they would say to me, I had healthcare professionals say to me, well, you're not going to succeed in this. And that was really hard to be told that. So we've both talked about that mom guilt, and I feel like it's really important that we as moms, instead of guilting each other and putting out the negative, that we support one another, because we're all in this journey together.
Yes.
And it wasn't until I got maybe 9 months, 10 months down the road of being able to pump and showing that I could do this successfully that people actually said, oh wait, wow, this person is able to do this. So that was my experience. I had another baby 4 years later, Elizabeth, and I knew right away that I didn't want to even try going down the road of breastfeeding in the form of having her on my breast. I just wanted to pump exclusively right from day one. And I can remember going into the hospital, getting ready to deliver, and the nurse said, so how do you plan on feeding this baby? By the breast or by the bottle? And I said, by the bottle, but with breast milk. And she said, oh honey, you're not gonna be successful with that. And I said, no, I've done this already for a full year. I know I'll be successful at this. And that was the end of the conversation. There wasn't as much mom guilt because I knew in myself that I had that confidence. But as a first-time mom, you don't have that confidence.
Oh.
Like, you're afraid to leave the house, you're afraid to
Your hormones
step
are
out,
crazy.
you're all over the place. And so I just wish that the outside world, that the message would be that fed is best rather than breast is best. Because to me, as long as that baby is thriving, as long as that baby is healthy, as long as that mom is healthy and supported, that's what matters. It doesn't matter what form that baby is fed, as long as there's an end result. Yeah.
Right. They're happy.
Yeah. So that's hard. And the benefits that I found from bottle feeding versus breastfeeding, I loved the benefits. One of the biggest things that I heard from people that were criticizing me for wanting to pump was that, well, you're not going to get a bond with your child. And I would challenge anybody to come to me and tell me that I don't have a bond with my children, because we are a very close-knit family. And I think that one of the benefits to bottle feeding was that I was able to successfully have skin-to-skin relationships with my baby with a bottle in hand. And not only was I able to have those relationships, but my family was able to have those relationships.
My sister and my mom as well.
Yeah, and so that was so nice. So it allowed my baby in infancy to form a bond with my husband, with their father, with grandma, with sisters, with aunties, even with close friends. And I look at that now, 6 years after, and I see that he's developed these amazing relationships with these other matriarchs in my family, and these other influences in his life. And I really think that it's because there were those bonds going on right from infancy. Like, it didn't have to exclusively be my responsibility to feed and nourish this child. Yes, I was producing the milk, but those bonding moments were being shared by everybody.
The whole family.
Yeah, and another benefit, so the first benefit to me was just the bond that everybody was able to share, but the second benefit was that as a young couple entering into parenthood for the first time, we were able to then have my mother and father or my in-laws watch the babies while we went out and had our own time. So at 1 month old, we were able to go out and have date nights, successful date nights, without the pressure of running home to be able to nurse the baby. And that was a benefit as well, was that everybody was able to work together to support us, to support our mental struggles at that time.
And that's what you need. You need that support from not only from your family, but the community as a whole as well.
So it might have been a little bit more work. I had to make sure I was up every 3 hours to keep my supply going, and I had to make sure that I was weeding out old milk and using up new milk. And yes, there was a lot of calculating. How much does the baby need? And watch my diet so that I'm bringing in what needs to go out. But I feel like by being committed for that 1 year of my child's life, it benefited me in that it allowed me to maintain my mental sanity.
Yeah.
It allowed me and my family to bond with my children. And it allowed me just to have the confidence to know that as a new mom, like, you need to do you. You can't look at the
Other
posters
people.
and the radio ads and the other moms and think that there's one right way. Be it bottle fed, be it breastfed, be it formula,
Yes.
be it breast milk, it doesn't matter. You need to do you as a new mom, and whatever works for you works. We as moms need to stop the social shaming. We as moms need to stop the pressure. We just need to build each other up and work as a community to raise the next generation in a loving and compassionate way.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
All right, that's great.
there we go.